This is wildly effective. He's not being shown as a god, but he's being shown as someone who is uncomfortable with his size and position. Anecdotally, I used to know a guy like that. He was easily over 6'2", but he would walk with his shoulders slumped, his head down, like he was afraid of his size. Much like our beloved Mr. Smith. Smith is navigating really rough foreign waters at this point. It's almost like the only people that are really on his side are the boys from the Boy Rangers, or the Boy Pages in the Senate, so basically all the kids love him. Everyone around him is of double mind. Arthur's character, Saunders, even says that Smith doesn't belong there. He's halfway decent. Is there anyone that is halfway decent in Washington, D.C. now? Wait, don't answer that. They spend a lot of time alluding to Don Quixote, and it took me a while, probably due to a mixture of a lack of sleep and just being a bit dim, to see why. Quixote himself is a lost cause, and so is Smith, at least in the minds of the corrupt elites that he is now forced to deal with on a regular basis. When he discovers the depths of the corruption he exists in, he can't just walk away. He must fight. To this particular Quixote, the windmills really are giants. They need to be fought, even if they cannot be slain. The backstabbing and the double crosses that happen in this part of the film feel very real and are painful. This really makes Smith's fight a lost cause. Not only is he fighting a corrupt system, he's fighting a character assassination plot directed at him. Just watching Stewart's heartbreak, you'd go through every stage of grief, sadness, anger, denial. Stewart says more with a nervous bobbing of his Adam's apple than most actors say with half a page of dialogue. He does a lot of soul-searching at this point, and there's another great shot in the Lincoln Memorial where Smith looks on at Lincoln, picks up his bags, and goes inside where he is covered by the shadow of the pillars around him. He sits on his luggage and weeps. This is a threshold moment for Smith. He has decided to run, and honestly, who can blame him? It's the classic battle of good versus evil, but not a single punch is thrown. This is the moral battle that we all must face in some capacity in life. Do we become like the people we despise just to fit in or gain success? Or do we stand on principle, stand on something bigger than the moment, and let it be our strength, even if we are sure to lose? In a film full of great supporting characters, is it too much to suggest that the Lincoln Memorial is one of the best of them? I've never felt so much tension in what would boil down to a civics class. If C-SPAN were this exciting, I would never change the channel. No filibuster is ever this exciting, but it helps that they keep cutting to show the scrambling that goes on in the spin zones, particularly trying to figure out how to spin it in the negative for Smith. My favorite line is this one.
Because I wouldn't give you 2 cents for all your fancy rules if behind them they didn't have a little bit of plain, ordinary, everyday kindness. And a little looking out for the other fella, too.
This is such a great, feel-good, fun film that runs the gamut of every possible emotion and makes you want to cheer no matter your political leanings. This is what America should be. Underdogs, the downtrodden, those without voices finally speaking up and speaking loudly. But you can't speak up without the support of those around you, and watching as Smith experiences a groundswell of support from his hometown boys is exciting, and you can't help but smile. The climax of the film is in a final speech from Smith, who talks about the ultimate theme of the story itself, lost causes, loving your neighbor, and ultimately telling the truth. It's a great speech, and let's just listen.
I guess this is just another lost cause, Mr. Payne. All you people don't know about lost causes. Mr. Payne does. He said once they were the only causes worth fighting for. And he fought for them once. For the only reason any man ever fights for them. Because of just one plain, simple rule. Love thy neighbor. And in this world today full of hatred, a man who knows that one rule has a great trust. You know that rule, Mr. Payne. And I loved you for it just as my father did. And you know that you fight for the lost causes harder than for any others. Yes, you even die for them. Like a man we both knew, Mr. Payne. You think I'm licked? You all think I'm licked. Well, I'm not licked. And I'm gonna stay right here and fight for this lost cause. Even if this room gets filled with lies like these. And the Taylors and all their armies come marching into this place. Somebody will listen to me.
I really loved this movie. From the beginning to the end, it made me feel every possible emotion, and it ended, as Gary Marshall said, with hope. So I am writing this script just under 24 hours after the election results were finally tallied. And while I won't take a side in this podcast, I can say that in those 24 hours, I have seen every possible emotion from folks on both sides of the aisle. But we have to have hope. We cannot give up hope. America is not a lost cause. America is not a lost cause, regardless the outcome of one presidential election. Will Donald Trump be a Mr. Smith, someone woefully unprepared for the position he has been thrust in, dealing with a system that is foreign to him in every way? Only time will tell. He's surprised everyone so far. Who knows what other surprises he may have up his sleeve? Either way, I don't know. I know some people are afraid of his rhetoric. Some people are afraid of the people who voted for him. I won't begrudge them their feelings, as they are very real. But we cannot give up hope. Hope and kindness for our fellow man should be the bedrock for how we govern our lives. Anyway, before I go off. After experiencing the film, I have to ask the big question.
Should this be required pop culture viewing?
Yes. Yes, a resounding yes. If anything, this film will make you feel good in the end and will give you hope. My grade, a 5. That's a perfect score. For a perfect film. I wouldn't change a thing. From Stewart's sincerity to the tormented way that Claude Rains, the Invisible Man, portrays one of the primary supporting characters, and just because Jean Arthur is adorable. This film is built on solid performances, incredible direction, and a story that will be timeless. Everyone should watch it. Everyone. Alright, so before I let you go, I wanted to try something new from this point forward. Each episode of this show seems to run between 20 and 30 minutes, which is the sweet spot for podcasts, in my opinion, but I felt like I needed to add more just to hit that mark on shows where I only focus on one film. So I decided, when time allows and topic merits, I will recommend a movie that sort of goes along with the theme. I couldn't honestly think of a good political film for today, but I could think of a scene in a film that reminded me of this particular election. I'll let you listen in for yourself.
Good. Then pour the wine. Inhale this, but do not touch.
I smell nothing.
What you do not smell is called iocane powder. It is odorless, tasteless, dissolves instantly in liquid, and is among the more deadly poisons known to man. All right. Where is the poison? The battle of wits has begun. It ends when you decide and we both drink and find out who is right and who is dead.
But it's so simple. All I have to do is divine from what I know of you. Are you the sort of man who would put the poison into his own goblet or his enemies? Now, a clever man would put the poison into his own goblet because he would know that only a great fool would reach for what he was given. I'm not a great fool, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. But you must have known I was not a great fool. You would have counted on it, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
You've made your decision then?
Not remotely, because iocane comes from Australia, as everyone knows. And Australia is entirely peopled with criminals. And criminals are used to having people not trust them, as you are not trusted by me, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you.
Truly, you have a dizzying intellect.
Wait till I get going! Where was I?
Australia.
Yes, Australia. And you must have suspected I would have known the powder's origin, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
You're just stalling now.
You'd like to think that, wouldn't you? You've beaten my giant, which means you're exceptionally strong. So you could have put the poison in your own goblet, trusting on your strength to save you, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of you. But you've also bested my Spaniard, which means you must have studied. And in studying, you must have learned that man is mortal, so you would have put the poison as far from yourself as possible, so I can clearly not choose the wine in front of me.
You're trying to trick me into giving away something. It won't work.
It has worked. You've given everything away. I know where the poison is.
Then make your choice.
I will, and I choose... What in the world can that be?
What? Where? I don't see anything.
Oh, well, I could have sworn I saw something. No matter.
What's so funny?
I'll tell you in a minute. First, let's drink. Me from my glass, and you from yours.
You guessed wrong.
You only think I guessed wrong. That's what's so funny. I switched glasses when your back was turned. Ha ha, you fool. You fell victim to one of the classic blunders. The most famous is never get involved in a land war in Asia, but only slightly less well known is this. Never go in against a Sicilian when death is on the line.
Who are you?
I'm no one to be trifled with. That is all you ever need know.
To think, all that time it was Shortcut that was poisoned.
They were both poisoned. I spent the last few years building up an immunity to iocane powder.
I do believe we were in a battle of wits with a Sicilian, and death was on the line. That was this election in a nutshell. Of course, that scene is from the 1987 Rob Reiner film, The Princess Bride, which is a film I can't recommend enough. It has everything: romance, adventure, swordplay, a whole bunch of humor. And we all kind of need that right now, right? If The Princess Bride is one of your gaps, because let's face it, I wouldn't be surprised at anyone's gaps considering my own, go check it out. As of this writing, it's available to stream on Netflix. That about does it, folks. Thanks so much for listening to Mind the Gaps, and if you like what you hear, please rate and review it on iTunes. Those reviews and those ratings really help me, so please do it, if you can. You can also find this along with my other show, Because I Said So, a father and son's podcast, on Stitcher. Stitcher is the best one-stop shop for all your podcasting needs. Just go to Stitcher.com, download the app, and you'll have access to over 65,000 shows. The music on this show is by the incomparable Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com, your best resource for royalty-free music on the web. Got your own podcast or a video, but don't know how to record or play your own music? Check out Incompetech.com, and Kevin can hook you up. Thanks again for listening, and we'll see you soon.